Hello, this is Spellbinder with a news update on the Gulf and what they're really up to down there. It appears Agenda 21 is in full operation right now. Censored Gulf News: state-sponsored terrorism targets Deep South for Agenda 21. Another great article by Deborah Dupree. And they want you off their property down there. That's basically what Agenda 21 is all about. You're on their property, vermin. It's time for you to get off. And they will poison you like rats to get you off of the property. This is some of the stuff that they're up to. Obama, his administration, and military continue aerial spraying the Gulf of Mexico's people and their air, water, land, and food with neurotoxic pesticide banned in other countries. Co-exit. Congressman Gerald Nadler stopped the spray bill. Scientists demand to stop it, and BP protesters will unlikely end this crime against humanity planned and conducted with sophisticated, albeit evil petrochemical military industrial complex expertise. The CIA, Defense Department, EPA, and petrochemical giants have been bedfellows for decades under the cover in the dark, secretly manufacturing, testing aerial spray chemical weapons on the Americans and other nations to control and depopulate. One terrorist act's part of Agenda 21. Trusting this cabal and its corroborating local, state, and federal agencies claiming their research proves anything beneficial for humanity is tragically naive and dangerous. Its operation is saturating this Deep South with some 2 million gallons of deadly chemicals brewing with crude oil poisons. See, when they're mixed together, they become even more toxic. On the Federal Link Radio, or Freedom Link Radio, August 1st, archived below, people listening heard A.C. Griffin discuss that the Deepwater Horizon explosion was no accident. 2. Griffin discussed that when people are repeatedly warned for months that their reckless planned act will harm, injure, and or kill, but they proceed in conducting that act, it is criminal. Such was the Gulf explosion and all transpiring since, including the rapid dispersant applications afterwards. According to Griffin, these acts are part of Agenda 21, including relocation, full control of survivors, and even depopulation. I'm going to play a little bit of this so you'll get an idea, and I'm going to leave a link at the bottom of the video on YouTube so you can listen to this whole 2 hours yourself. I believe it's a 2-hour show.
We still are trying to play by the normal rule book, and that is a sure death to do that. I think the government and the authorities will leave those people there to die. I don't think the government will step in and make any great attempt to save the people. And I want to report tonight that I have finally come around, and I honestly believe, and I will say this for the first time, that Agenda 21 is being played out down there. I felt it before, but there was just not enough convincing proof that everything we felt was Agenda 21. But I can say tonight it is. They're playing out an agenda to take that land and to do those people in. No question in my mind, Joe and Andrew. There is a lot going on in the world. It's hard to get your mind around all of the connected but yet disconnected pieces of this. It's the largest story that I have ever seen on the earth, how everything connects. It's not only just the oil and the water, it's the agendas, and it's the lives of millions of people. The future of our country, the United States, is under attack. We are slowly losing our country by design. The administration is slowly taking our country apart, and the people, many of them, still haven't caught on. They still don't realize the name of the game. The same thing happened during the Revolutionary War. The same thing happened during the War of 1861. In fact, you can probably go back to every war that's ever occurred and find connections to what's going on today in our country. And the people are not aware of that. They haven't been educated. They have no sense of history about them. Therefore, they have to learn all over again. Joe, there is a lot to talk about tonight, but right now we'll switch it back to you and come in. We've got 2 hours. We've got plenty of time. Andrew, it's nice to meet you.
It's a pleasure is all mine, sir. I've listened to you for, well, I guess since I woke up, so it's good to be able to speak to you for a change.
Thank you.
Well, Andrew, he brought up Agenda 21. How do you feel about that, and do you think that we're actually seeing it played out down there?
Myself personally, I mean, when you look at the string of events that led us up to where we currently are in the Gulf, I mean, I consider it like this. These are intelligent people at BP. They knew what they were doing. They were giving a warning a year out not to drill there. The president gave them specific express permission, only BP to drill in that area. They encountered numerous problems. The crew said that they had to stop. They used improper procedures. They did everything by the book on, if you want to break something, how do you do it? And, I mean, intelligent people don't make that many mistakes in a row. And given the amount of Corexit and this news that, they're now saying there's no oil, but they're still pumping dispersant. And the dispersant has gotten to such a level that people are getting lesions and body aches and all. We were just looking over it. It fits every single descriptor of a chemical warfare attack.
That's right.
So yes, I would have to say at this point in the game, yes.
Griff, what's interesting? My wife was doing some research on this, and she actually came to a website called nationalterroralert.com. It's a government-funded website that helps people identify the characteristics of different terrorist attack. And one of these pages is what to look for in a chemical attack. So I kind of want to read this out to the listeners, because isn't this interesting? When I read down this list of identifiers as far as what are the warning signs of a chemical attack or incident, just how closely it resembles what's going on down in the Gulf. But these are the characteristics that help you recognize this factor. And it goes like this. It says a chemical or biological attack or incident won't always be immediately apparent, given the fact that many agents are odorless and colorless, and some cause no immediate noticeable effects or symptoms. Be alert to the possible presence of agents. Indicators of such an attack include droplets of oily film on surfaces, unusual dead or dying animals in the area, unusual liquid sprays or vapors, unexplained odors such as the smell of bitter almonds, peach kernels, newly mown hay, or green grass, unusual or unauthorized spraying in the area. We've all seen that. Victims displaying symptoms of nausea, difficulty breathing, convulsions, disorientation, or patterns of illness inconsistent with natural disease, low-lying clouds or fog unrelated to weather, clouds of dust or suspended possibly colored particles, and people dressed unusually, long-sleeve shirts or overcoats in the summertime, or wearing breathing protection, particularly in areas where large number of people tend to congregate, such as subways or stadiums. But those are the warning signs that they tell you to look for with a chemical attack. And isn't it interesting that down in the Gulf region, we're pretty much seeing all those factors play out? I just find it very, very odd. Now, last week we talked about the possibility of there being an asphalt volcano that they've actually tapped into. Do you still feel that that's what they did, Griff?
Yes. Yes, I do. We're not looking at the actual volcano. I'll call it a volcano. The smoke, the oil coming out of the top of the volcano on their television feed is just floating out. You don't have any pressure to speak of behind that, and never did.
Yeah, that's interesting for sure. Now I know that, hey Andrew, I know that the Intel Hub had some interesting information about the location of the rovers. Can you expand on that a little bit? Because we're obviously not looking at the same thing.
Now, what I'm seeing there were a couple of rovers on the floor, and it seems everything seems to be totally stable, and then all of a sudden there's just an explosion of gases, and the typical brownish red stuff that we've been seeing, but it's coming out violently. I mean, everything, if it were a storm in the wind, it would look like 50-mile-an-hour winds taking the trees halfway over. I mean, that's how much violence, the force and pressure those blasts are creating. But beyond that, what they've got is they've got proof that BP essentially had 2 drilling sites, and they abandoned the first site and went with the second site. But according to their own internal documents and the eastings and westings given on the rovers, most of what we've been seeing there, if it's not in the fish tank, you're seeing drill site number 1 that was abandoned. And that's just, it's another interesting little bit of the information that's slowly eking out about the whole thing.
Right. I've heard about the fish tank theory, and I think it was Henning that actually brought that up to begin with. And I myself, I kind of don't know what to believe when it comes to this because, John, we did some research on that, and I think it was the Sulu Sea, right, that we came out with if we plugged it in as Latin long.
Oh yeah, the Sulu Sea, and the interesting thing about it is that it comes up to, well, I don't think it was BP, it was an Exxon oil field, and of course Exxon is a subsidiary of BP. So that's pretty peculiar, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure.
Go ahead. I just wanted to say, since we were looking at that website earlier, I got in my closet and pulled out my handy U.S. Army Total Student Training Guide to Nuclear, Biological, Chemical Weapons. I've been looking over it, and that corrects it. It falls in a very interesting category because it essentially, most nerve agents and chemical agents, most chemical agents are gone. Once you spray them, their persistency is fairly low, and they dissipate and they become harmless. This thing, this corrects it on the other hand. This is something that it bioaccumulates. It goes from one organism to the next, and it climbs the food chain, and it really, really persists. So, it falls into a whole other category that's not even in this book. Just wanted to note that.
Yeah, now, Griff, as far as Agenda 21 is concerned, for anybody that doesn't understand what Agenda 21 is, it's the depopulation plan of the powers that be. Do you think that this situation here, I mean, coupled with the other stuff, do you think we're seeing that the WebBot predictions start to kind of take hold or take form?
Do you mean with the evacuation and like of the Gulf area?
Right, and not to mention that, but we have this oil spill up in Michigan now. It's crazy. They're evacuating up there.
Here, there's so many things going on tonight. I'm getting email out of the Gulf right now.
Beautiful.
It's if I had 20 hands and 50 hours a day, I would have a hard time keeping up with what's coming. But it's an exciting time. I wouldn't miss it for the world. I hope I can be around for another 20 or 30 years to help in the rebuilding after this goes down, because it is going down. Everything is accelerating, it seems. It's no question in my mind that the events in the Gulf will continue to play out, and the people will eventually evacuate out of that area. And when that happens, you're going to set dominoes going in every direction, falling to the right and to the left, and nobody's going to be able to handle what comes after that. Certainly not the government. Nobody is going to be able to manage it. It's going to run itself. So I think it's an agenda. I think it's being played. It's more than one agenda. The agenda in 21, the documents, they're available on the internet. You can.
And there you go. That's all I can play for right now. But there it is. I saw this coming down the pike, and now it's fulfilling itself. They're getting ready. They did abandon people up around Michigan. They're volunteering right now because the benzene in the oil. So I'm getting off of here. This is Spellbinder. Be good at it. Check out the links, and I'll talk to you later. Good day.